Let's introduce you to Rakuten SixthSense Data Observability. What you're seeing here is a 360 health data dashboard, which is one of our key sections. The other two being the way you would set up your monitors. And finally, we have the lineage view, which is highly resourceful, not just in the context of solving issues, but also exploring your overall data sources, the assets, and how the data flow itself is occurring. Now let's focus on the 360 health data dashboard. Towards the right, you see the data health in terms of the overall percentage. Now this is an accumulation of a lot of aspects that contribute to a formula. It involves the number of anomalies that are raised against your multiple data sources, and also the longevity of those issues existing and certain weightages that we add. So let's say you have your ingestion layer, you have your ETLs running, you have your storage lake, and so on. And eventually you have your consumption layer, could be the sciences or could be the reporting layer. We cut across all of this and observe the data flow itself. Coming to the left, we have the coverage aspect itself across your data sources. It could have n number of assets, and how are we doing with the monitoring itself? If you notice here, you have around 1661 assets, out of which 26 are being monitored, and that's the coverage. Now, this prompts the users to figure out if there are more assets that need to be scoped in for the monitoring itself. And then moving on, we have the average time to respond and average time to fix. And these are crucial metrics, the MTTD and MTTR. And when the anomalies are raised, you need to go about fixing those, and how long does it take to identify and how long does it take to fix them. These two are the critical metrics, especially for the SREs, data engineers, who are up and out there solving these day in and out. And finally, we have the number of issues that are open at any point in time, and also the split of how many are in progress, how many are closed, and how many still there with no action being taken. As we come down below, we see the time series of how the anomalies are being raised across multiple pillars for data observability, namely freshness, volume, data quality rules, custom rules, and we also have the normal volume and freshness. What differentiates the auto freshness from the volume is that auto freshness and auto volume have the modeling abilities which study the patterns with which the tables are getting filled with data, and accordingly come up with the upper and lower ranges that are safe. And in case of breaches in those upper and lower ranges, anomalies are raised. And coming to the right, you also see the exact health score across those pillars for multiple assets and the number of anomalies that exist. Coming down below, you also see the pipeline anomalies and how many pipelines have been affected and the overall number of connections. So overall, this data dashboard makes for an immediate view of how the state of the data is across all of the data sources in an organization or a specific tenant you may be focused on. And these are generally consumed by, let's say, the chief data officers, chief analytic officers, or data practitioners, or could be any role, but someone who wants to very quickly look at the overall state and health of their data. Now, let's say the data analytics team comes up with an issue with one of their reports or multiple reports. Either they're off or some data is missing, and they call up the data platform team. Now, the data platform team knows or should be aware or is made aware of the tables that are feeding into those reports. So the flow begins with looking at the assets that are being affected. Now, let's say there is a sales related report that is getting affected, and you get to see the number of anomalies. Now, once you dig into those anomalies, we present a complete view of the issue that is occurring. Now, we have the incident ID, we have what is the monitor that is being looked at, the severity. Now, the severity comes from the time when the monitor is created. We'll take you through that in a bit. And the status of the anomaly itself and where this is being notified. Now, we have the freshness, we have the volume, schema changes, DQ rules, custom rules, reconciliation, and lineage. Now, what we're seeing here is the auto volume. If I were to expand this a bit, It shows the upper and lower range that the model thinks is a safe zone that the table should be operating without any issues. And the dark purple lines indicate the actual values with which the volume is getting filled with the table. And the red dot indicates the upper and low range breaches that have occurred. And now I can look at when exactly this anomaly occurred. So to go deeper into this issue, what I would then do is look at the lineage. SixthSense data observability supports both upstream and downstream lineage. So if I were to expand this a bit to get the complete view, now I get to see the traversal of the data right from the source. So here we have a sales related pipeline, and there's some Spark jobs that are moving data from the source and all the way till the destination to a certain Tableau report. I can expand the view, I can expand the individual assets to see what's going on. And eventually what I also get to see is the health score at each of these source tables. Now, if a stakeholder is looking at a report to take crucial decisions, they can go about that very confidently if the health score is high. Now, if the health score is low, then they know that certain things have to be actioned upon. And this also gives a view of the number of anomalies that exist on that particular asset. And this is how one can go about solving the particular issue. And you can also blow up the entire scheme of things here to see how a particular column, the value is traversing right from the start till the end. Now, how do we set these things up? It's fairly easy. All you have to do is look at the getting started section. We have 3 steps here. One is looking at the data source. Now, Rakuten SixthSense data observability supports close to 20 to 25 different sources spanning across ETLs, lakes, databases, BI tools, and so on. The latest one being the Fabric, Microsoft Fabric is something that we've added. Now, it's as simple as selecting a data source that you want to add, hit next, and we support 2 things. One is you either key in those credentials right here, or you can hook it up via the secure key vault if that is a choice of the organization. And then we have setting up the monitors itself. And this is where we can select a specific data source and also go through various monitors such as freshness, volume, schema changes, and so on. If I were to add a volume monitor, all I have to do is select between relative and absolute preference. And I would want to specify that as long as the volume, if the volume is equal to a certain value of rows, a certain value of bytes, then give me an alert. Or if it's not equal to so on, you can include all of these operators to set the volume monitor. Or it could be a report where you're expecting the data to be filled in every minute or every hour. Let's say there's a campaign that is going on and you want the price to be the price intelligence platform to get all of this information so it can nail down the price and the hyper personalization. So you can always select if the table is not getting filled or updated within for every minute, then an anomaly is raised, and you also specify the criticality level as well. So that's how you ensure that the freshness is always ensured. And of course, schema changes. A lot of schema changes can happen. You get to see that as well. And reconciliation is one of the things that is very critical at time of, especially migration and so on. So this is how one can quickly set up certain monitors. And then every company has a different preference as to how they would want to get notified. We support Outlook, we support Slack, we support Teams. And also for custom tools, we also have certain webhooks that can be defined. And once you do this, all you have to specify is the channel name and the exact Slack channel as well. And what this can do is help organizations specify a certain group where all the relevant users who are focused on a specific observability pillar or a specific data source, they get notified. So there's no alert fatigue as such. So that's how one gets to quickly set things up. And the journey starts with the data health and all the way till monitoring various pillars, studying the lineage to fix issues, and very quickly setting things up.